it's been difficult to like find things that we're actually allowed to do because the school said that we're not allowed to do anything on campus unless, you know, it like meets the social distancing requirements, and we're not allowed to do anything off campus either. And most of the work that we do is off campus, working for candidates. But we have started doing like virtual phone banking. So basically we have an app with like a bunch of people's information, and we just make phone calls for candidates. And because you can do that from anywhere. So that's been something that's really fun. We've been doing, or we will have, a virtual debate watch party. So we'll kind of all be on Zoom together and just stream the debate and watch that. We're kind of just making do with what we've been allowed. We're still trying to find some more ways that we can go out and get involved. A lot of our members have jobs or internships with candidates. So those members are still allowed to go out and like knock doors and all of that stuff because it's their job. So some of our members are still able to get involved in that way, but we've mostly just been trying to phone bank a lot, send text, just really get people involved in the club. So then when we are allowed to go do more stuff, we already have a lot of people interested.
I mean, it's been difficult, you know, a lot of the things that we did traditionally as far as get out the vote activities and interacting with candidates has been in person. So it's, as everything has been disrupted because of the pandemic, we've had a little bit of difficulty adjusting, although we have, I think, gotten over the hump, especially since a lot of the activities that we do other than physical door knocking or hanging things on the doorknobs, door hangers, is done through a virtual format where you can kind of do it anytime. So phone banking, text banking, you can do those pretty much on your own time at a computer or on your phone. So that has been not as much of a struggle. As far as candidates interacting with them, of course, they can stop by just as everything's done over Zoom now. They can stop by at our regular Zoom meetings weekly. So we've still, obviously, as November, or people can vote right now, but as the election becomes near, then we're just trying to get out the vote the best that we can and transition into a virtual way to be able to do that. But I think we've done it pretty well so far.
Well, every meeting we do have a guest speaker, which is nice. And that's not really like activism on our part, but it's good for people, especially people that don't live near Harrisonburg or out of state people, to kind of hear from their local elected officials and just kind of get to know them. And tonight we're actually co-hosting a town hall with Ben Klein with the Madison Center for Civic Engagement. So that's something that we can do. We did one in the spring with Tony Wilt. So I'm sure we'll do a few more as election season kind of ramps up, but that's something that's really awesome. And like, obviously the Madison Center gets a lot more like publicity than we do. So it's really cool to be involved with a bigger group like them, because then we can get more exposure for our club too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is voter information and candidate literacy. So we've had we co-sponsored a town hall with the center, which you work for as well, with Nick Betts, who a lot of students hadn't heard of Nick Betts before until, we did the town hall and he came in, and we did a nice set of questions. And now, everybody knows who's going to be on the ballot in November for the Democratic ticket, running against Ben Klein. So that's one thing. And all of our city council, Nick Betts is wonderful. It's just that, that was the first real experience that we got to have with him. All of our city council candidates have stopped by our meetings. I'm pretty sure all of the Democratic city council candidates have stopped by. We've been doing phone banks, text banking, even for, candidates that are outside of our district. We've been doing some phone and text banking for Abigail Spanberger, Mark Warner, statewide election. Just, trying to focus on all the way from the local level up to the presidential, trying to get out the vote. And we've done a really great job with that. Our members have stayed engaged. So.
I think people are definitely more interested in the in-depth side of politics this election season. A lot of people, they vote because of the R or the D next to someone's name. And this election, just from what I've seen being an intern, people, and like with my own friends, people are interested. Like, they want to know about the people that they're voting for. They want to know about the policies that could go into a place. They want to know about legislation, and I think that's awesome. And I'm not sure if it's because of the current political climate or just because it's an important election. There's a pandemic, but I think, in my opinion, people are definitely just more interested in who they're voting for and what's important to them.
I mean, this is a lot of people say this is the most important presidential election of our lifetime. So a lot of people are looking for a way to get involved. We've seen some great levels of engagement from our members as far as voters. All the people that I've talked to on the phone or through text or whatever it may be have been extremely excited for the prospect of the election. They're looking forward to getting out and voting and taking part in activism. Pretty much everybody that I've interacted with has dedicated a really large amount of their time, and they're more than willing to do that to make sure not only that if from a partisan point of view, but to just make sure that as many people vote and take part in the process as possible, which is a great thing to see.
I think negatively, but I think that if we had a Democratic president, it would have negatively impacted the Democratic Party, if that makes sense. When you're the president and when your party aligns with who's in office, you get scrutinized more. The focus is on you. In some things, I feel like the party gets blamed instead of like just the president gets blamed. So that has been difficult, and I have been called names. People judge me because of who I vote for. But I think it has made it a little bit more difficult to be a Republican because people look at Trump and then they just associate every other Republican with him and his decisions. And it's not always like that. I don't agree with everything he does. I'm sure a lot of people don't, but I don't know. I think it has had like kind of a negative impact.
I don't think the pandemic's good for anything. I wouldn't say that it's positively impacted anything. It's made a lot of people aware of some systems that we had in place that weren't particularly effective, and a lot of the practices that we had all the way from the federal administration down just weren't equipped to be able to deal with something of this caliber. I wouldn't say it had a positive effect, but there are a lot of things that we learned from it. And as we move forward, we'll have that knowledge. This is the first time in 100 years, first time anybody who's been alive on this planet has experienced something of this scale. So we all learn together, and I do think that as we move forward, it'll better equip us for the future. It makes us all we get closer together when we're conquering adversity. You know, that's something that everybody does whenever you face any form of adversity. So it makes us closer together as we're pushing through this. As obviously this is a really stressful time. It happens once every 4 years, and as we take part in the different things that we do, we all grow closer to each other. We have some really friendly, great people in our organization. I don't think any part of what we do has been negatively effective. We've conquered it all. We've done a really great job, I think. But